I think I might have found my dream setup for making melodic house. That is going to be today's video. Are you ready for it? Let's go and do it right now. Hey, what's up? I'm in the kitchen and thank you for checking out yet another video. Now, if this is your first time here, don't hesitate to click subscribe and hit that notification bell. Whenever I upload a new video, you'll be kept in the loop and you'll not miss out on anything. Do stick around till the end of this video. I will tell you at length and very broad how our Patreon system works with patreon.com/analogkitchen, how you can join our community, how you can get in touch with me and other like-minded synth enthusiasts. Stick around. Melodic house, melodic techno, what are the differences? There are two different genres. Now, melodic house, as the word house music says, it's got a little bit more of that house kind of feeling. Now, if you're new to electronic music, house music was one of the first ever genres to come out of the disco sound, right? So when you water down disco a little bit more and you only use the bare break beats of the drop that's in there and you loop it, you get that house kind of feeling. So kick on the one, hats on the backbeat and the claps on the 2 and 4s, that's your basic house beat. When you add melodics to it, it becomes something different and the BPM is slightly lower. You can have melodic house ranging between 120 and 130 BPM, 130 beats per minute, whereas with melodic techno that comes out of a completely different area, the beats are a little bit more straightforward, more high energy, more in your face, more big room, so that BPM goes between 120 and 140. Now, acts that are known for melodic techno are Arbot, Tale of Us, Stefan Botzin, you know, that kind of vibe. Lane 8, Rufus Del Sol, Adriatique, Ben Böhmer, Nora En Pure, that kind of vibe is being pushed more into the melodic house type of things. Now, mind you, these genres are very fluid. It's not etched in stone. It's not to say that you can play a melodic house track and then clear the floor. You were booked for a melodic techno gig, and the other way around. Obviously, what I love about it is that I think house music, it's got more shuffle hats, more percussive elements. There's a lot more stuff that you can do, especially one of my favorite artists, Ento, out of the Hungry Music Camp, him and Workles and a lot. They've got a specific sound that I really enjoy. As they, I don't know, maybe growing up they were listening to Daft Punk or something. The French have always had a mean streak when it comes to creating really kick-ass house music, and that sound is pretty awesome. They have watered it down to the bare minimum of what you would need in order for a dance track to work. You can debate that when you're listening to Strand by Stefan Botzin. It might do that same thing, but when it comes to that hungry music sound, there is something really cool about it. Especially that track called Alter Ego by Ento, N-T-O, Ento. Check him out. That track Alter Ego, it does the trick. Mix wise, sound design wise, everything in that track is perfect in my honest opinion. Yeah, so that. When it comes to the sound and the setup that you would use for it, you have to now think in band member territory. What do I mean with that? Band members meaning somebody needs to be the drummer, somebody needs to be the bass player, somebody needs to be the keyboardist or the string parser, you know? Think a little bit more classic pop music and divide the different tasks to the different band members. And in that sense, I think multitasking is key. Otherwise, you're bringing too much gear to the stage. So the things need to do multiple tasks. And in that sense, I have got a setup that I think is dreamy for this kind of sound. It's not the smallest of setups. I have all the boxes, so I'm using it. I can imagine that you have also an idea on what to use, how to use it. Let me know in the comment section what your setup is. Let's get into a discussion and let's see what works for you, what doesn't. This is only my redlining on how I think this works for me. Now, okay, are you ready? Then let's go and do it. Right, gang, yeah, that's what's going on. Very minimalistic setup, very minimalistic kind of sound, but at the same time, it works. And why does it work? Because I've not overthought a lot of stuff. Let's take out the crash, take out that top loop. Now, what is in this track? Basically, you need a bass line. The bass line is coming from the MPC, would you believe it? So there's 3 tracks on the MPC. I've got pads here. Then I've mapped the Q-Link buttons, the top one, I've linked that to the cutoff filter of this hype synth, and the preset is called Real Power, so I'm using that here. And basically what this thing is doing is playing 2 things at the same time. So you've got your basic chord schemes, but there's a melody over the top. I don't know if you can make it out on let's see. So first you got your, so if I was to take out the top line that is playing, let's say shift and got it. This is just the basic chord, right? And so I've got a top melody playing, but that will only be apparent if the filter opens up. Now you don't hear it as much. So that's the trick. So there's a melody hidden here that you don't have to play, that is already playing, that you won't hear the filters down. Now, in terms of drums, there's 3. I've got this bass on the 2, obviously. Kick drum, that should not be any discussion, right? Then there is just a shaker, yeah? So not an open hat, not a closed hat, just a shaker. And the shaker, I shortened it so that you get that hi-hat sense, but at the same time it gives you that brush feeling, because if you're not using a lot of high-end information, make sure that the thing you're using for this higher kind of frequency, if it has to be that one thing that determines your high in the track, it needs to be a little bit more almost noisy. And I think a brush or a shaker has got more frequency content, obviously, as you should look up how many frequencies there are embedded in white noise. You'll be surprised. Homework for you guys, check that out. Okay, then moving on, we're going to very loud as hell clap I add. I'll turn it down a little bit. So it's just a simple 4 to the floor beat, right? But the trick is also in the turnaround of the chords. The chords go ooh, doo, doo, and here's the turnaround inversion. So pretty much playing the same thing, but I'm playing it upside down. Now there is a keyboard that I've not connected. I didn't connect it to the MPC, but obviously there's a keyboard I can play some stuff. Going to a MIDI channel, I can play whatever's here. Now that I love. But the trick is in the arpeggio, obviously, because this kind of sound, I mean, I love this and it's very cool, but now I've got a sense that I'm watching a newscaster talking about something with this in the background. It's nice background music, but we need something else now. On the ARP side, I'll get to the ARP in a second. Let's leave it to later. What I've done is I've got a few things happening on the black box. For one, there's this rave sound that plays a part when the filter is down. I mean, 12 o'clock it goes all the way up to here, obviously, but I'm using it in the middle, right? So then this rave sound sounds like it's playing already. Boom. I just need something Rotterdamish, straight, you know, that does the trick. Nice, cool. Now then there is another ARP that I have, and that there's a white noise thingy on the top. Let's turn the rave sound off and listen to the impact thingy. Here it plays again. And again. Okay, now I'm firing it all the time, but usually I'll just play it like so. bam, and I'll leave it running, and it just keeps going, and adds a little bit of now, on the ARP side of things, listen to this. Now this is a very ento kind of arpeggio. First, I've played the top line, so I played 1, 2, 3, and bam. And again, there's a turnaround there as well. And then I filled up the notes in the bottom. Let's go here and say track mute, and let's take off the reverb here. There's a bit of reverb coming from the audio things, by the way. Now let's see what I have done. I'm going in. Ah, there you go. So as you can hear, the bass notes play something different. Bum, 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 boom, 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 bum, 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 boom, boom, bum. Boom, boom, boom. You know, so there are two things also playing here as well. So in my call and response mindset, having something invoke the melody, having something invoke a little bit of an extra thingy, that works. Now that's why the arpeggio is going to work blindly with that bass line, because the low notes fall away into the bass line frequency, but it's still there. And in order to have them come out again, I'm using reverb so that the notes will be extended, because reverb obviously makes the sound longer. So and to go dramatic. Kick drum. The bass line, I tweaked it a little bit to be a little bit more like an FM kind of bass, because the transient, the attack transient, resembles the kick. So if we turn our ARP off, so you get a bit of a seesaw feeling, you know? Drum, drum, music, drum, music. You want that pulsating thing to happen on the speaker. And if you, this is basically where the mix down of your track occurs, because if this thing rocks and is very bouncy, this is where all the energy is. If you can get this to sound right on a big sound system, then you're golden. Okay, now solid, right? I think it's solid beat. And then not to just give this, to not give it away or to have it be too simple, then there's another loop here. I think one of the patrons is going to remember that he sent it me. If you hear your music coming up in the comment section, you should listen carefully. Cool. Then there's a crash that I stuck on 5 that plays a very long sequence. Turn it off, it was there. When I go to track 5, watch these things were on here. Off, and on, and off, and advance. You see? So that crash that is sitting here is playing, yeah. There it goes, there's another one. Yep. Did you say it was too loud? I'm listening to you. Okay, turning it down now. Cool. Right, now you paid attention because you heard another arpeggio. This arpeggio is going faster than the because I need two things to work together. And check this out. I'm gonna turn off the crash because still my head in. If I play the other ARP, it's too much at the same time. So there's a trick that needs to be done, right? So check it out. With this filter, I love the Erica Synths Acidbox 3 filter because what it does to the sound and what it when you're thinking about subtractive synthesis, obviously you want to take out frequencies, but most of the time you lose a lot of information. So if I go here, bam, 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 that's very, so the accent shifts to a different note, right? Okay, here you hear everything. Now check this out. Boom, boom, doo, 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 doo. See if you can still focus on. Doo, 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 doo. So free, I'm getting a whole new sequence for free out of this. So you have to play around a little bit, maybe resonance, maybe your modulation. Just liven it up a little bit. What if you were to stick this in this, See how this Acidbox is making the arpeggio coming out of the black box very percussive. It starts to add an element of, I don't know what kind of element. I just want to dance. It feels like, it gives me a sense of move your ass, you know what I mean? That's what I like, so, okay, cool. Now, and then you switch between this I could have obviously put this through a filter as well, but then everything gets filtered and then you do the same thing, and then I found that you end up doing the same routine with the sequence that you want to play, right? That's not what we want. Okay, let's take that thing out and play the pads that are not playing at all. They are. Oh, I was a little bit too careful with the filter. Now I opted to go for strings that had a lot of richness, so if you turn it down, here you get that thick 24-pole filter kind of feeling out of the sound. Obviously it's digital sound, so nothing analog going on right here. So in location what you're doing, but you can hear that also. Nice. Yeah, I'm liking it. And then it wants to take out the strings. It wants to take out the bass line. Then you're always left with something that can make you dance, right? And it's alive. So a trick to not have your tracks become too stale is to make sure that the sounds are always moving, you know, even the ARP. So I'm going to take this off here and take this. And that's a trick that I heard Ento do also. What he did very, very smartly is that obviously there's note priority on the more expensive synthesizers. I know that the subsequent 37 has it, which means that you can tell the synthesizer that the higher you play the notes up, certain things of the filter will become more apparent. So if you were to play a arpeggio and that spans over 2 or 3 octaves, obviously the higher notes are going to be more in your face because they're going to be slightly clearer, and you can do that with LFO, so you can do that with a lot of stuff. So you'll hear that the low notes fall to the background a little bit, but they do something different than the high notes, which means that again 2 things are happening out of the same sequence. Now I've not engaged that on the audio thingies so much, as I'm not sure that that is how it works, but it's also moving. Because the lower notes obviously hold a little bit more bass frequency, so if you're listening to this on decent speakers, that is what's going to kick you in the butt, right? It's going to make you dance. So if you're standing next to the speaker, you'll hear it, right? So the only thing for me to do is to make sure that the bass line has an extra low character underneath. I can play different bass lines, obviously, different patterns, I mean, but I wanted it to go as simple as I could underneath the drums that I have. 1, 2, 3, and. Right? Okay, yeah. Okay, now what else? If I was to think on how I would like to dress this sound up, this is a very important thing, because this, what you're hearing right now, is accompanying music. When I started to play music, when I started to go to music school, I played saxophone. And saxophone is a solo instrument. That means that you have to find people to play with. You can play by yourself and it's absolutely cool, but a saxophone is cool to, you know, play with other instruments. Hence jazz, hence big band music, hence, you know, if you look at Clarence Clemens, what he did with the Boss, for instance, or if you're looking at Maceo Parker and his collective, the saxophone always has an intricate part on what it does. But a solo instrument, you have to rely on other people, and guitar and piano can be a solo instrument, but it can also be an instrument that you can accompany yourself singing or accompany the saxophonist, obviously. So yeah, looking at how you would do that, you need to make the solo instrument the solo instrument. That's why I've connected the Black Sky to the Audio Thingies MicroMonsta, because without it, it's a cool machine and it sounds wicked. But it feels a bit like someone with a toupee on their head, and the more you're looking at it, but you can see that the hair is fake, you know what I mean? It just does not fit. It does not want to sit there and be convincing. So in order for this thing to not be the toupee in your music, with other words, people can really strip it out, like, okay, why is it there? I will blend it into the music. Now let's do that with the Black Sky here. The mix is all down. It's engaged right now. Got it on plate setting, and the mode, the type is plate, and the mode is normal, right? Here it comes. Relays pretty up, and that's a low cut so that it's not going to be way too dark and muddy up my mix. Cool. Let's go for the mod mode. Now this is more a melodic techno kind of reverb now. Listen to this. Oh, with all due respect, I love this sound, but I hate how digital it sounds once you open up the filter. Listen to this. Oh my god. Sorry, but no. So, I'm keeping it there. Then I can somewhat convince people that it sounds like an analog sound, right? I'm nitpicky, I'm sorry, I know. But come on, when you listen to this solid kind of backdrop, you don't want your sound to give it away. Toupee time again. So yeah, you understand what I mean? Cool. So now I really stress myself to make that sound analog. Let's listen to the shimmer mode. The shimmer mode obviously works with brighter sounds, obviously. But I think that the mod mode and the norm mode for this sound works wonders. So it's getting full power and I'm moderately on the mix here. Right? Okay. And think of a frequency window, of a collage. You build up your frequencies, right? Because if you do that properly and correctly, you can hear all the sounds in their own unique frequency range, but at the same time, they're not masking each other, right? So let's go in for that other arp. So if I was to enter this in my song, I'll probably just enter it in slowly, you know, really CIA-like. And then if I wanted to do this, because you can hear that I'm already down with the filter, I can't filter it away, and a crossover with filters would be nice, then obviously I'm going to bury it in reverb. So then this becomes also a lot clearer, this other arpeggio coming from the 1010 black box. Listen what's happening right now. Now this needs to go, more reverb. Here you go. So it spreads out. It just goes into the reverb and makes a little bit wider appearance. And now this little bit drier sound can just cut straight through the middle. It's a mixing trick that I'm also using. And then the leveling, obviously you can level stuff out. So let's bring it back. Go with this back to where we were. Filter the pads down. Alright gang, enjoy. All the magic happens on patreon.com/analogkitchen, and wish yourself over to Discord. That's where we have our chats, our community-based chats. It's cool if you're looking for like-minded folks to share your music with, get some tips on travel, get some tips on, you know, what have you. That might be a cool way to just do it. I mean, you won't be breaking the bank. It's not like we're charging telephone numbers. It's really cool. And in that sense, it's cool because this weekend, tomorrow night, actually, if you're watching the premiere, there's a kitchen club in Rotterdam. I'm doing kitchen club, and Grand Mel, one of the patrons, he is coming over and he's playing. That's cool. And I'm going to Ireland and play on Fringe Festival, but I'll tell you more on that in the next coming weeks, as we are now focusing on this for now. But that's a cool community where I've met so many friends, I've met like-minded folks. I thought I was the only one in the world when I got to YouTube and found out, first through Bo and then Ricky, and then more and more people came, you know, and all of a sudden I'm one of them, you know. It's just one of those things that's really cool to just do and hang out. And now I've got my own little community on the web. You can find me through patreon.com/analogkitchen. Thank you if you made it this far into the video. You, sir or ma'am, are an absolute superstar. Thank you for being here. If you're a first timer, thanks ever so much. Stick around. There's much information that you can get. You don't have to be dollars, but it's a cool thing. Let me know your workflow. I'm just interested in music as a whole. Now, thank you for watching. Keep watching this space. I'm Analog Kitchen, and I'm out. See you next week on another video. Peace.